All right, let's dive into something we all think about, confidence. But what does true confidence actually look and feel like? It might not be what you think. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's something quieter, way more stable, and honestly, a lot more powerful.
So, let's start with a little thought experiment. We're so often conditioned to see the loudest voice, the biggest personality as the most confident. But what if that's all wrong? What if real self-assurance doesn't need to yell to be heard?
And that question really gets to the heart of this big paradox. There's a huge difference between genuine, quiet assurance and that loud, flashy bravado we see all the time. One comes from a place of real strength, and the other? Well, it's often rooted in insecurity.
And when you break it down, the difference is just crystal clear. That loud bravado, it's like a leaky bucket. It needs constant validation from the outside just to feel full. But quiet assurance? That comes from a deep internal well of self-worth that doesn't depend on what anyone else thinks.
So, where do we get this quiet assurance? How do we build that well? For an amazing blueprint, we can actually look back thousands of years to the Stoic philosophers. They talked about building an inner citadel, like a fortress inside your mind that stays strong and steady no matter what chaos is happening outside.
And this quote from Marcus Aurelius? It's everything. It's the secret sauce. True strength isn't about controlling the world around you, because, let's be real, you can't. It's about mastering your response to it. Your power, your peace, your confidence, it all starts right there.
The Stoics even gave us a super practical tool for this. It's called the dichotomy of control. Think of it like a mental sorting system. You just ask yourself, is this thing in my control or out of my control? If it's in your control, like your own actions and choices, focus on it. If it's not, you learn to let it go.
This is just so important. What Epictetus is saying is that our self-worth should never be tied to things we can't control. The moment you base your value on praise or likes or what other people think, you're basically handing them the remote control to your own happiness. The goal is to find that value inside yourself.
Okay, so we've got the philosophy down, but what does this inner strength actually look like day to day? These aren't flashy tricks. They're the subtle but incredibly powerful habits of truly confident people.
First up, and this is a big one, genuinely confident people are not desperate to dominate the conversation. They aren't scrambling for airtime to prove how smart they are. Why? Because they're already secure enough in themselves to just sit back and listen with real curiosity. Think about the motivation here. The insecure person in a conversation is just waiting for a pause so they can jump in and prove their worth. But the confident person? They're actually present. They're listening to understand because their ego isn't on the line. At its core, real confidence is curious.
Next, and this might be the most powerful sign of all, a truly confident person's ego is not tied to being right all the time. Their self-worth is stable, so they can easily say, I made a mistake, or, you know what, I don't know. They see being wrong as a chance to learn, not a threat to who they are.
And this is one of the clearest tells you can look for. Someone who's faking confidence will make excuses, they'll shift blame, anything to protect their fragile ego. But someone with real inner strength, they get that owning your mistakes isn't a weakness. It is the ultimate sign of a rock-solid sense of self.
Finally, truly confident people understand that life isn't a zero-sum game. Someone else's success doesn't take anything away from them. They can genuinely, truly cheer for their friends, their colleagues, and even their competitors.
Instead of feeling threatened, they actively lift other people up. They know that when someone else's candle shines bright, it doesn't make theirs any dimmer. In fact, they know the truth. A rising tide lifts all boats. Okay, so we know how this quiet confidence feels on the inside. But here's the cool part. It totally shows on the outside too. It naturally comes through in our body language, often without us even realizing it.
But we can also be intentional about it. And it's not about puffing out your chest like a superhero. It's the simple things. Standing tall with your shoulders relaxed. Keeping an open posture instead of crossing your arms. Maintaining steady, gentle eye contact. And using deliberate, open hand gestures instead of fidgety ones.
For instance, here's a super practical tip. Research suggests that if you maintain eye contact about 70% of the time when you're listening to someone, it hits the sweet spot. It shows you're engaged and self-assured. But it doesn't feel like an uncomfortable stare. It just signals presence and respect.
So this all sounds great, right? But the big question is, how do we actually get there?
How do we bridge that gap between who we are right now and that quietly confident person we want to be?
Well, the Stoics give us this amazing practical roadmap. It's just 3 steps. First, get a super clear vision of your ideal self. How do they act and what do they value? Second, figure out the key habits that would get you there. And third, this is the most important part, start small. I mean, ridiculously small. Don't try to leap, just take one tiny step.
And as you're taking those small steps, you have to keep coming back to this fundamental truth. The goal isn't perfection, it's just progress. And you have to remember that your worth is intrinsic. It's not something you earn from a job title or a bank account or likes on a screen. It's already there, it lives within you.
So if you take just one thing away today, let it be this. I absolutely love this quote. Real, lasting confidence is about resilience. It's not about being perfect or never failing. It's about knowing, deep down, that you can handle being wrong, that you can learn from it, and that you can keep moving forward. So, I'm going to leave you with a question. Forget the big, grand gestures for a second. What is one tiny, almost unnoticeable step you could take today to start building your own inner citadel? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to see them. And hey, if you found this helpful, you should definitely check out our explainer on building resilience.